Hi moms, welcome to this new episode. Welcome to my channel. My name is Diana. I talk about mom stuff. It's really so tempting to swing around this chair, so forgive me if I do that a lot. So today I'm going to talk about something that's a bit deep, but it's just something I thought about last night. Like, am I doing this motherly thing right? Because sometimes you feel as if you're not so sure about what you're doing, and like other people are doing it this way. And this came about because I was feeding my baby. Of late, she's had a really hard time like finishing her food. Like I usually have a certain quantity, so she's not been finishing that. So that was a concern. And then my nanny asked me if I'm probably breastfeeding her too much, and I looked at her like, what do you mean I'm breastfeeding her too much? There's nothing like too much breastfeeding. It's food either way. So there was this like I'm trying to justify what I'm doing because I'm feeling guilty about it. And then I thought, what if? So I even wanted to ask. I'm like, Kwani, is it bad to breastfeed her too much? Or what if it was just too much to process with that little statement? And then I thought, why not talk about imposter syndrome? Yeah, when I was at work, I was the queen of imposter syndrome. Like, I just never used to feel like I'm there because of my experience. I don't know why, I just used to feel like I was where I was because of pure luck. And then I had so much to prove to people to a point where you just shut down. So that translating into motherhood, that there's a lot that contributes into you feeling as an imposter mother. Yeah, it's actually a thing. I didn't know it was a thing. I just thought it was just a little bit of guilt and then you're over-ended with it. But it's actually like you're just always feeling like you're a fraud. So, so I'll talk about ways to overcome the imposter syndrome towards the end. Basically, imposter syndrome is just, okay, as defined by the researchers who came up with the term. I think it was around 1979. So the imposter syndrome is by Pauline and Susan. So imposter syndrome is an internal experience of intellectual phoniness. So just constantly feeling like you're a fraud, and one day they'll catch you and they'll take away everything you have, and it's crazy. So yeah, it's always the simple things like, I don't know, like sometimes like at night, like maybe at this stage she's okay with using just one diaper through the night, but sometimes I'm like, is that how it's supposed to be? So I'm always just constantly googling things and reading and just nagging my husband with all these questions. I'm like, okay, is it okay if she just goes through the night with one diaper? Obviously she does go through the night with one diaper, and then now the diaper itself is written like throughout the night, so there's nothing wrong with that, but I always just feel like, what is wrong? And then today I dressed her in a dress, and then it's hot. Nairobi is hot, and then the nanny asked me if the baby she came in, she's like, kuna baridi, it's a bit cold, ama nyanya msiki baridi, or you're not feeling cold? And I thought, are you trying to say that I've underdressed my daughter and she's freezing? And I was ready like to defend myself. So yeah, it's usually those small things. So I'm like, okay, like what amount of hotness is hot, what amount of coldness is cold? Like I don't get it. Like, isn't it obviously like hot, and it's okay if she just wears a dress? So I had to go get stockings and put them on her, and just because I'm feeling guilty about it, and I'm thinking, okay, she's a mom, she's a little bit older, she knows what she's talking about. But then I just sat back and I was like, no, that's not how it's supposed to be. Like you can't let your imposter syndrome control you. Like, how do I tell me? You're just letting these voices inside your head control you, and if that happens, you'll just end up in this deep hole that you really don't know how you got there. Because one, it's not really yourself. It's another voice controlling you. Two, you're not doing things because you think they're right or they're wrong. You're just doing things because you don't want other people to view you as right or wrong, to view those things as right or wrong. And the one thing I absolutely dislike is like waiting for validation from other people. So I just like doing my own thing, like whether it's right or wrong. If I feel like it's okay with me, I'll just do it. Yeah, like when you wait for validation, you'll honestly wait for validation forever. So yeah, that's my journey with imposter motherhood syndrome. So they call it imposter syndrome. Yeah, and then so I just have a few pointers on on some things about imposter syndrome. So this usually occurs mostly, research has shown that it's mostly women who experience imposter syndrome, especially in the workplace. I guess because women, for some reason, we have to just prove ourselves to people, and that's what I always say. I always feel like women work twice or thrice as hard as men do, because we always just feel like we need to prove ourselves. Especially for me, I used to work in an environment where I was the only female in the department, and just constantly like trying to prove myself and not looking like kissing ass, like just doing your work because there's someone else who's kissing ass. So like you're always competing with people who really, their ego doesn't allow them to have this imposter syndrome. And for me, like my ego, I had no ego. So like for me, I was just really constantly like battling imposter syndrome. So that environment really was so toxic for me, and I just had to get out. Yeah. So, and that's how, I guess, imposter syndrome, like that's how it portrays itself even in motherhood. Just constantly feeling like you're not doing it right, or one day someone will be like, bring this baby, we're taking the baby away from you because you're not bringing the baby upright. But then, I mean, one of the ways of overcoming imposter syndrome, really, you just have to do your thing and be you, like F whoever else feels like you're doing it wrong. But I feel like if you just boost your ego a little bit, then maybe you'll be able to deal with it. Yeah, I think I've probably summarized. It sounded like I was venting, but really not. But I think I've probably summarized just really what imposter syndrome is. And imposter syndrome is not always a bad thing. It's not always a bad thing. For me, it always works for the best. It pushes you to be a better person. And one thing that you need to understand is, if you're experiencing imposter syndrome in whatever it is that you're doing, it means you really, really care about it deeply. So imposter syndrome always portrays itself in situations where the situation is, or the environment or whatever it is that you're doing is so meaningful to you and you care about it so deeply, then imposter syndrome portrays itself. But if you're in an environment or a situation where you don't care, you're okay, just you're comfortable in your zone and all that, then chances are you might not experience imposter syndrome. So I'm one of those people who would just always beat myself up about things, always trying to be the best in everything. So yeah, clearly you'd definitely almost imagine like imposter syndrome is my thing. Yeah, I'm the queen. So yeah. So imposter syndrome is not really a bad thing. It just pushes you to be a better person. And it also shows that you're qualified for whatever it is that you're doing. It's just that will people around you be able to see how qualified you are? Yeah, and if you're thinking about it that way, then really you are qualified in the position you're in. It pushes you to be a better person. It helps you, I think it helps you with interpersonal skills, because then if you feel like everyone around you might think you're a fraud, then you try to relate very well with the people around you, and that's a plus. Yeah, so it's not always a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's actually just a voice inside of you pushing you to be better. Yeah, that's how I view it. I always see the positive in everything. Yeah, so ways to overcome imposter syndrome. So have the pointers down. So one, okay, you need to understand, okay, we as mothers need to understand everyone around us, every mother around us is going through the same thing, and we really don't know what it is we are doing. There's no manual that comes with raising a child. So we're all just like trying to figure out what it is we are doing. And no one is perfect at it. I always say I'm a mom, I love being a mom, and I'm terrible at it. And it's okay, like if you understand that everyone else around you is going through the same thing and they're also struggling just the way you are, then you'll see there's really no level of qualification to it. Like you're okay with what you're doing, even if you're feeling like you're not. Sometimes you feel like, how will my child end up? Will they be bullies? Will she be the kindest person ever? Will she be loving? Will she be a bully? Will she be bullied? Like when you start thinking about all those things, you stress out. You try to do things that you think that will help her to get to be that model citizen. Yeah, but just it's a journey and everyone is going through it. So it's okay to feel how you're feeling, but don't beat yourself up. Yeah. Then you can tell, you can always silence the voice that's critiquing you in your head. Yeah, like if you for me, the one thing I always tell myself, how to silence the voice in my head, I'm like, who told you so? So when I tell myself, I don't think I'm good enough at this, I don't think I'm good enough at this assignment I've been given, maybe I'll fail at it, I'm like, who told you so? Or maybe I'm like, I need to leave this assignment and do something else because I know it's not going to end up well. Who told you so? Like, before you do something or before you start telling yourself all these negative things, just ask yourself, who told you so? You know, like, if you think you're not a good mom, if you think you're failing, has anyone ever walked up to you and told you, Diana, you're not a good mom and you're failing? No. So who told you so? Like, really, like, just ask, nani alikwambia, who told you so? So if there's really never anyone who's ever told you so, who are you to tell yourself these negative things? Yeah, I mean. And then the last point, this is huge. So anyway, you are the mother your child needs. Yeah, it's you were chosen specifically to raise that child. So everything that this child will ever need to grow up, like the life manual this child needs, is with you. You are the mother chosen for this child. So however you're doing it exactly how you're supposed to do it, because you are chosen to do it that way. You are chosen to be the one to do it. So never ever doubt yourself. So I always tell myself, sometimes when I do something I feel like it's not right, I just look at my baby, I'm like, yeah, I'm the mother that God gave you to raise you, so we have to deal. Yeah, so you're really the best at raising this child. No one else can do it the way you're doing it. So really, like, you are the mother your child needs. So be present and be fully present, and don't let the voices inside your head tell you otherwise, and don't let imposter syndrome bring you down. It's supposed to empower you and make you better in every way possible. So yeah, in summary, that's imposter syndrome as a mother, and I guess it's even worse in the career area, but as a mother, really, it is what it is, and it's quietly just fades with time. Yeah, like, it just slowly, as for the syndrome in parenting, slowly just fades away with time. You feel like, yeah, I'm the mother this child needs, so whatever I say goes, you know. Like, with time you feel like you're good. It's just now that it's hard because you're starting out. Can you imagine? I've just been with this child for 9 months now. Like, we barely know each other, so, and I'm really all she knows. So I mean, just give yourself some grace. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and talk to your friends about it as well. See you in the next episode. Bye.